Quickly taking you through how global markets and global cues are looking like on Wednesday morning. The IMF cut global growth forecasts by 10 basis points, down from 6% to 5.9% yesterday. The IMF cites supply chain challenges and COVID for the lowering of the global growth expectations. US job openings have fallen, and major US banks are expected to reveal third quarter results on Wednesday. On the back of this, all of US indices were in the red. Nervous investors. All three US indices fell for the third straight day ahead of September's inflation report, which is expected to come in on Wednesday as well. The Dow was down around 0.33%, the S&P 500 down 0.25%, and the Nasdaq was down just above 0.1% in trade yesterday. Moving on to how Europe is looking. Germany's economic sentiment survey fell for the fifth straight month. Not good news for Europe or the largest economy in Europe. The FTSE 100 was down around 0.25%, and the DAX was down 0.33% on the back of this news. The biggest losers, of course, for the FTSE were industrials and consumer discretionary. Moving on to Asia, oil prices were pressured, and that meant all Asian markets ended in the red. China, Hong Kong, and Korea, three key markets, fell over 1% in trade yesterday. The Nikkei was down almost 1% yesterday. The Shanghai was down around 1.25%. The Hang Seng was down almost 1.5%, and the ASX 200 was down around 0.25%, while the Kospi, which is the Korean index, was down 1.35% in trade yesterday. Asian indices have started in the green today morning, all of which have started in the green. The SGX Nifty futures, which closed around 0.25% higher in trade yesterday, is now also moderately higher this Wednesday morning. Good global cues for Indian markets. Moving on to commodities. The London Metal Index closed lower after 3 consecutive days of gains, so commodity prices seem to be cooling. Aluminium rose marginally, however, iron ore and copper seem to have fallen. Oil still looks firmly above the US dollars 80 a barrel mark, and is in fact close to $80.50 a barrel in early trade as we speak. Brent is above the US dollars 83 a barrel mark. Gold, though, has crept up a bit ahead of the inflation report in the US, which looks slightly nervy at the moment, and currently gold is at around $1760 an ounce. Moving on to US Treasuries. US Treasuries have let out some of the steam that it had over the last few days. Mind you, it had topped the 1.6% on Monday and Tuesday and has now fallen to 1.57%. Again, one of the cues as to how investors expect US inflation numbers to come in for the month of September. The dollar index is up 0.1% in trade yesterday and is trading absolutely flat with a negative bias. In fact, early in trade today morning, in fact, it is down 9 basis points. Bitcoin is down around 2% after a really good rally across last week and this week, and is at the US dollars 56,000 mark. Not bad at all for the Bitcoin. That's a roundup from all of us here on the global markets.